In the quiet rhythm of long-lived lives there exists a simple truth. The body becomes what it is repeatedly given. Those who have walked gently on this earth for nearly a century did not discover a secret hidden in rare herbs or complicated formulas. Instead, they followed a path of discipline so ordinary that many overlook it, yet so powerful that it reshapes the very nature of aging. They eat not to satisfy endless desire, but to sustain life. Their meals are modest, measured, and mindful. Hunger is not treated as an enemy, nor is fullness treated as a goal. They stop before excess, understanding that the moment of just enough is where health begins. The body, when not burdened, works with ease. When not overloaded, it repairs itself in silence. Their food is simple. Grains, vegetables, roots, fruits, these form the foundation. Nothing is overly processed, nothing overly rich. Nature provides and they accept without demanding more. In this simplicity, the body finds clarity. When food is clean, the mind becomes light. When the mind is light, the spirit is undisturbed. They follow time with discipline. Meals are taken at regular hours, not whenever craving arises. Late eating is avoided, allowing the body to rest when the sun sets. Just as the earth follows cycles, so too must the human body. When one aligns with this rhythm, energy flows without resistance. There is also silence in their eating. No distraction, no haste. Each bite is taken with awareness, each flavor noticed, each movement slow. In this stillness, overeating becomes impossible. Awareness itself becomes the boundary that protects health. They avoid extremes. Too much sugar clouds the body. Too much salt disturbs balance. Too much indulgence weakens discipline. Instead, they walk the middle path, neither deprivation nor excess. This balance is not forced, it is practiced daily until it becomes natural. They understand that food is not comfort. When emotions rise, they observe them rather than burying them under layers of consumption. In this way, the body remains free from the weight of unprocessed feelings disguised as hunger. And perhaps most importantly, they are grateful. Before eating, there is a moment of quiet appreciation for the earth, for the effort behind the meal, for the opportunity to live another day. Gratitude transforms food into more than sustenance, it becomes a connection to life itself. A long life is not built in a single day, nor through a single meal. It is shaped by countless small choices repeated with awareness. The strictness of these rules is not harshness but care, not restriction but wisdom. If one listens closely, the lesson becomes clear. Longevity is not found in chasing more but in needing less. The body thrives not on abundance but on balance. And in that balance, time slows its grip, allowing life to unfold with quiet strength over many years. Health comes from eating with restraint, stopping before fullness and avoiding excess. Health begins not with what is eaten but with how much is allowed. The body does not suffer from lack as often as it suffers from excess. Those who live long understand this deeply, and so they practice restraint not as a burden but as a form of care. They do not wait until they are completely full to stop eating. Instead, they pause at the moment when hunger fades but heaviness has not yet begun. In this small space between need and indulgence, the body finds its natural balance. When a person eats beyond what is necessary, the body must work harder than it should. Energy that could be used for healing and renewal is instead spent on digestion. Over time, this silent strain begins to wear down the system. But when one eats with moderation, the body is given space to breathe, to repair, and to function as it was meant to. Lightness replaces fatigue, and clarity replaces sluggishness. Restraint is not about denying oneself harshly. It is about understanding the difference between true hunger and passing desire. Hunger arises gently and can be satisfied with simple food. Desire, however, is restless and never truly satisfied. If one follows desire, there will always be a need for more taste, more quantity, more stimulation. But if one listens to hunger, even a small meal becomes enough. This practice requires awareness. It asks a person to slow down, to notice each bite, and to recognize when the body has received what it needs. In a world that encourages speed and excess, this way of eating may seem difficult at first. Yet with patience, it becomes natural. The body begins to signal clearly, and the mind learns to listen without interference. Over time, this simple act of stopping early becomes a powerful habit. It protects the body from illness, supports steady energy, and creates a sense of control that extends beyond food. One who can stop before excess in eating can also find balance in other areas of life. In the end, restraint is not a limitation but a quiet freedom. It frees the body from burden, the mind from craving, and the spirit from constant dissatisfaction. And in that freedom, true health begins to take root, growing steadily with each mindful choice. Simple, natural foods like grains, vegetables, and fruits form the foundation of long life. True nourishment begins with simplicity. The body in its natural state does not require complexity to thrive. It responds best to what is clean, natural, and unaltered. Those who have lived long and remain strong into old age often follow a way of eating that avoids excess refinement. Their meals are built from basic, unprocessed foods that come directly from the earth. Grains, fresh vegetables, fruits, roots, and legumes form the foundation of their daily sustenance. When food is simple, the body does not struggle to recognize or process it. It accepts it with ease, breaking it down efficiently and using its energy for healing rather than correction. In contrast, heavily processed or artificially enhanced foods place unnecessary stress on the system. They may bring momentary satisfaction, but over time they cloud the body and disturb its natural rhythm. Simplicity restores that rhythm. There is also a quiet wisdom in choosing what is familiar to nature. Foods that grow from the soil, ripen under the sun, and carry no artificial alteration tend to align more naturally with human biology. When a person eats in harmony with nature, the body feels less resistance. Energy becomes steady, digestion becomes smooth, and the mind feels less burdened. Simplicity also teaches contentment. When meals are not filled with excessive flavors or unnecessary combinations, appreciation increases. The smallest taste becomes noticeable. The act of eating becomes more mindful, more present. Instead of chasing stimulation, one begins to notice nourishment itself as enough. This shift reduces dependency on constant variety and indulgence. Those who live by this principle often do not seek abundance on their plate. They seek balance. A small portion of wholesome food is enough to sustain them. They do not measure richness by how complex a meal is, but by how well it supports life. In this understanding, food becomes a source of stability rather than excess. Over time, simplicity in diet reflects simplicity in life. The mind becomes less cluttered, cravings become fewer, and the body becomes lighter. There is a sense of clarity that grows quietly within. One does not feel pulled in many directions by desire, because the foundation of daily nourishment is steady and uncomplicated. In this way, eating simple food is not just a physical choice, but a way of living that supports longevity. It reduces strain, increases awareness, and brings the body into closer alignment with its natural design. And in that alignment, health becomes not something pursued, but something naturally sustained over time. Following a disciplined eating schedule aligned with natural rhythms supports the body's balance. Time is one of the greatest healers of the human body, but only when it is allowed to work in harmony with discipline. Those who live long lives often follow a simple yet powerful principle. They eat according to rhythm, not impulse. Their meals are not random acts of craving, but structured parts of a daily cycle that mirrors the natural world. Just as the sun rises and sets with consistency, so too do they honor fixed times for nourishment. Eating at regular intervals gives the body a sense of predictability. When the body knows when food will arrive, it does not remain in a constant state of anticipation or stress. Digestion becomes more efficient because the system prepares itself in advance. Energy is not wasted in confusion or irregular processing. Instead, it flows smoothly, supporting both physical strength and mental clarity. One of the most important aspects of this discipline is avoiding late or unnecessary eating. When food is taken too close to rest, the body is forced to continue working when it should be recovering. Sleep becomes less restorative, and the internal systems remain partially active instead of fully repairing themselves. Over time, this disrupts balance and weakens vitality. By finishing meals earlier in the day, the body is given the gift of uninterrupted rest. This rhythm also extends to appetite itself. When meals are consistently timed, hunger begins to follow structure rather than emotion. The body learns to expect nourishment at certain moments, and cravings outside those moments gradually decrease. This reduces impulsive eating, which is often the cause of imbalance and discomfort. Living by such timing requires patience at first. Modern habits often encourage constant snacking, irregular meals, and late-night eating. Breaking away from this pattern is not immediate. But as the body adjusts, a deeper sense of stability emerges. Hunger becomes cleaner, digestion becomes lighter, and energy throughout the day becomes more consistent. There is also a mental benefit to this discipline. When eating follows order, the mind experiences less chaos. There is a sense of control that extends beyond food into other areas of life. Structure in one habit naturally encourages structure in thought and behavior. Ultimately, aligning meals with time is a way of respecting the body's internal intelligence. It acknowledges that the body functions best when it is not disturbed by unpredictability. In following this simple rhythm, life becomes steadier, health becomes stronger, and aging slows its heavy hand, allowing vitality to continue with grace. Mindful, slow, and distraction-free eating prevents overeating and strengthens awareness. Mindful eating is not simply a practice, it is a return to awareness. In a world where meals are often rushed, distracted, or consumed alongside noise and movement, the act of eating has lost its natural depth. Yet those who live long and steady lives often bring attention back to this basic human action. They eat slowly, silently, and with full presence, as if each bite carries meaning beyond taste alone. When eating is done with awareness, the body and mind begin to synchronize. Each bite is noticed. The texture, temperature, and flavor are observed rather than ignored. This attention naturally slows the pace of eating. When eating slows, digestion improves because the body is given time to process food properly instead of being overwhelmed by speed. Mindfulness also prevents excess. When a person is fully present, it becomes easier to recognize the moment when the body has had enough. Without awareness, eating continues mechanically, often beyond necessity. But with awareness, there is a clear internal signal that gently says enough, and that signal is heard and respected. This simple recognition protects the body from overloading itself. There is also a deeper transformation that occurs through mindful eating. Food is no longer seen as something to consume quickly or emotionally. It becomes an experience of connection between body and life. The act of eating turns into a quiet moment of gratitude and understanding. This shift reduces the tendency to use food as distraction from stress, sadness, or boredom. In this practice, distractions are intentionally removed. Screens are turned off, conversations are minimized, and attention is brought fully to the plate. This silence may feel unfamiliar at first, but it gradually reveals a sense of calm that is often missing in modern eating habits. In that calm, the body feels safe and digestion becomes smoother. Over time, mindful eating trains both the body and mind. The body learns to respond more clearly to hunger and fullness. The mind learns patience and presence. Together, they form a balanced relationship that supports health from within. Even small meals become deeply satisfying when eaten with awareness. There is no need for excess because the quality of attention replaces the need for quantity. Satisfaction comes not from how much is eaten, but from how fully it is experienced. In this way, mindful eating becomes more than a habit. It becomes a form of inner discipline that strengthens health, reduces imbalance, and brings a quiet stability to daily life. True nourishment includes emotional control and gratitude, not using food as comfort or escape. Food is not only physical nourishment, it is also deeply connected to the emotional state of a person. Those who live long and balanced lives understand that what they carry in their mind while eating is just as important as what they place on their plate. If the mind is restless, angry, or distracted, even simple food can feel heavy. But when the mind is calm and grounded, the same food becomes easier to digest and more nourishing to the body. One of the most important lessons in this practice is not using food as an escape. Many people turn to eating when they feel stressed, lonely, or overwhelmed. In those moments, food becomes a temporary comfort rather than true nourishment. But this comfort is short-lived and often leads to imbalance both in the body and in habits. Over time, eating driven by emotion rather than need creates a cycle of dependence that weakens self-control. To break this cycle, awareness must be developed. Instead of reacting immediately to emotional states with food, there is a pause. In that pause, one observes what is truly happening inside. Is there real hunger in the body, or is it a passing emotion in the mind? This distinction is powerful because it separates physical need from emotional reaction. When emotions arise, they are not ignored or suppressed. They are simply observed without being immediately acted upon through eating. This creates space between feeling and response. In that space, clarity grows. The urge to eat for comfort begins to weaken, and the natural intelligence of the body becomes clearer. Gratitude also plays a central role in this practice. Before eating, there is a quiet recognition of what the meal represents. It is not taken for granted. It is acknowledged as the result of effort, nature, and time. This sense of gratitude softens emotional cravings and brings a sense of respect to the act of eating. As this understanding deepens, food slowly returns to its true purpose. It is no longer a tool for distraction nor a response to emotional turbulence. It becomes a source of stable nourishment that supports both body and mind. Emotional balance and physical health begin to support each other instead of working against each other. In this harmony, a person feels lighter not only in body but also in mind. There is less dependence on external comfort and more strength within. And in that inner stability, health becomes more than survival, it becomes a steady and peaceful way of living.